Sabrina had watched Marcus die, but his suffering alone wasn't enough. Her pain demanded more. Revenge wasn't complete until everyone who played a role in her heartbreak paid the price. And at the top of that list was Faith, the blonde waitress who had shamelessly entertained Marcus's empty promises. Sabrina returned to the dimly lit restaurant where Marcus had once flirted so effortlessly. The air smelled of grilled meats and desperation, patrons drowning their loneliness in meals and cocktails. She spotted Faith easily. The woman stood in front of the restroom mirror, smoothing out her golden hair, reapplying her lipstick. She had no idea that tonight would be the beginning of her end. Sabrina waited until Faith flicked stray strands of hair into the sink, completely unaware of her presence. Stealthily, she plucked the fallen hairs from the porcelain basin, wrapping them carefully in a tissue before slipping silently out of the restaurant. The real work would begin later. That night, under the eerie glow of candlelight, Sabrina prepared her ritual. A small wooden bowl sat before her, cradling Faith's strands of hair. She sprinkled Marcus's cremated ashes over them, her lips curling into a knowing smirk. As she began her incantation, the air in the room grew thick, heavy with energy. The flames flickered violently, and the walls seemed to pulsate as if responding to an unseen force. Her eyes glowed a deep, malevolent red as she uttered the final words of her spell. The next morning, Faith awoke to her usual routine. She checked her phone for a message from Marcus, though deep down she knew there wouldn't be one. She chuckled to herself, shaking her head. "Well, Faith, I guess you should leave people alone when they're already involved," she murmured, applying a fresh coat of lipstick in the mirror. Her smile was smug, satisfied with the fleeting pleasure Marcus had given her. Then suddenly, something in her mouth felt off. She spat into the sink, and to her shock, a single tooth clinked against the porcelain. Her heart skipped a beat. "What the?" she whispered, touching her gums. But when she looked closer, she convinced herself it was just her wisdom tooth. Nothing serious. Shrugging it off, she left for work. The day went by normally at first, smiling, flirting, serving customers. But something was different. The usual attention she basked in was absent. Instead of flirty glances and charming remarks, men barely acknowledged her. One guy, barely in his late 20s, had even called her ma'am. Her confidence wavered. On her lunch break, she ordered her favorite meal, a juicy, medium-rare burger. She devoured it quickly but felt strangely unsatisfied. Still hungry, she ordered another. And another. Even after her last bite, the hunger remained, gnawing at her insides. By the end of her shift, she felt exhausted. Her reflection in the car mirror seemed slightly off. Maybe she was just tired. But as she drove home, an eerie sensation built up inside her mouth. She pulled to the side of the road and spat out 4 teeth. Panic surged through her. She sped home, desperate to find a solution. But the nightmare had only begun. The moment she stepped inside her apartment, another violent coughing fit racked her body. 3 more teeth tumbled out. Her hands shook as she dialed her doctor's office, only to hear a recording, closed for the night. A sudden sneeze shook her entire body, and as she wiped her face, she felt something terrifying. Strands of her golden hair tangled in her fingers. Her stomach twisted in fear. She rushed to the mirror, her breath hitching at the sight of thinning patches on her scalp. "No, no, no," she whispered, tugging at her hair, which came out in clumps. Her hands were trembling when she grabbed her car keys. "I need to go to the ER," she muttered, willing herself forward. As she took her first step, a sickening crunch echoed through her body. Pain exploded through her knee, sending her collapsing onto the floor. She gasped, tried to stand, but the moment she did, another crunch, this time from her hip. A deep, sharp agony spread through her as her body betrayed her completely. Crawling seemed her only option, but even that became impossible. Her muscles refused to respond, her limbs weak and useless. The fear in her heart grew into sheer terror as she realized her body was failing her in real time. Then she heard it. The faintest whisper, a voice she knew all too well. Sabrina, you thought you were the most beautiful woman alive. God's gift to men. The voice cooed, echoing in her mind. Now tell me, Faith, how does it feel to be old and hideous? Tears streamed down Faith's face as she felt her skin tighten, crack, and wrinkle. Her bones felt frail, her muscles shriveled. With each passing second, she aged decades. Desperation clung to her as she rasped, "Not like this, not like this." Her body convulsed violently as her heart clenched in unbearable pain. She was having a heart attack. Her breathing became labored as darkness consumed her vision. The last thing she saw was Sabrina's smirking face in the void of her mind. 2 days later, the police performed a wellness check at Faith's apartment. What they found was a horrifying sight. On the floor lay an ancient, mummified corpse, the only remains of what was once a young and beautiful woman. Sabrina's revenge was complete. Moral of the story, a woman's hurt can be deadly. If you would like to hear more amazing stories, be sure to subscribe, like, share, and hit that notification button.